So have you had it back to the last question? So before we go on to the next one, what has your guys' experience been when guys have come over to pick you up and maybe your parents or your family didn't like the guy? I know you've had that experience, but you still stayed with the guy, right? Still continue seeing him even if your parents were displeased or didn't like him.
Oh, it was definitely vocalized, but my father and I have a very close relationship, and if my father tells me that someone is not the person for me, I take that whole.
I'm talking about in the past. I'm not talking about today. I'm talking about the past when you were younger.
In the past.
So you always listen to him.
I would take that with a grain of salt. So, and it would sit in the back of my head.
She's qualifying her answer like a politician.
And it would sit in the back of my head, and I would wait for all of the little things that person would do that would just start to tick me off. And I would hear my dad's voice in the back of my head.
So the bottom line is you stayed with him.
For a little bit. And then...
Amazing. This is why men should never ask women for advice. You get all these contradictory type of answers, and it's all about asking the right question.
Well, I asked my father for dating advice.
Because when you started giving your answer, like, oh, I always listen to my dad.
I do.
You're like, and I knew that wasn't true.
It is true, because my dad would always be like, I told you so. Because he would always be the first person.
If he's telling you, I told you so, it's because you didn't listen to him.
He would always be the first person that I would go up to and be like, hey, I have some good news for you. Guess what? And he's like, you broke up with the schmuck. I'm like...
Yeah, but lots of those dudes you stayed with way longer than you should have.
I'm not going to disclose how long I was dating people.
Okay, see, this is so interesting. You just got to ask the right question. You stayed with them longer. You didn't just take your dad's advice and go, okay, I broke up with him, Dad. Did exactly what you said. That's not what happens. The bottom line is because your emotions overrode your logic to the point where you're like, I'm not listening to my dad. I love him. He's my boyfriend.
What do you want
He's
from
so
me?
special. He's the number one.
So
He's my number one, Corey.
No.
I believe in love. I believe in true love.
I've never said that someone was my number one. Except for this kid right here. He is my number one.
Love is love, Corey.
He's a burning ball of hydrogen, right, Sundog? Yeah.
That's my number one.
I mean, things happen. I've even had...
What about you? You had that experience where your dad's like, I don't like that guy, and yet you continued seeing him?
Yeah, and even my own friends, too. I even had friends of mine, anyone who's a huge video game geek, I've even had friends call him a non-player character, too, so that's interesting.
That's funny.
Yeah, so anyone who doesn't understand the whole reference of non-player characters, basically those generic characters you see in video games.
NPCs.
NPCs. But I'm saying for anyone who doesn't understand, but there's video game geeks out there that do understand what an NPC is. So I'm like, wow, that's a interesting way of saying how bad my significant other is. It's bad.
So the bottom line, Jocelyne's like, yeah, whatever, Dad. She kept dating him. Erica listened to him for a while. Yeah. In other words, she begrudgingly admitted that she stayed with the guy, much to her father's dismay. But eventually, she left the guy, even though we got an answer that was totally contradictory in the beginning. And again, what's so beautiful about these discussions is how it just confirms over and over why men should not listen to women when it comes to advice. Because this is what just drove Sigmund Freud up a wall, was like, the one thing he said is, the one question I've been unable to answer in my life about, the human behavior or studying women is, what does a woman want? He couldn't figure it out.
Everything. The answer is everything.
They're the Borg. You will be assimilated.
That's a movie with Mel Gibson.
What a girl wants?
No, what women want.
Or whatever it was called. But yeah, I've seen that movie. What
do they call it? This cap? It's like she's capping. How does this phrase? She's saying cap. Because I see it in the comments. Cap, Corey. That these girls be capping.
Capping.
No cap or cap?
Cap. It's all cap.
It's no, yeah.
What does
It's
that
cap.
mean?
No cap means like no lie, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Cap
means
means
cap is BS. So
lie.
Erica's
Oh.
giving us
Yeah.
a BS answer.
How am I giving you a BS answer?
Because it was totally contradictory. And she still can't see it. That's what's beautiful about it. This is why you just love women.
The dude that my
Love is
dad did
allowing,
not
allow them to
like,
be the way they are.
I dated him for 2 years.
And when was the first time he told you to ditch?
Well, we were literally like friends with benefits for like
When
8 or
in the
9
2-year
months.
timeline were you told to ditch the guy? When was the first time?
I think I told my dad that I was officially dating him.
She's still stalling.
Well, I'm trying to remember
She's
because
trying to remember. It
I
was a
was
long
literally
time
just
ago.
like banging him, friends with benefits for like 8 or 9 months.
And plus,
Before your
it's
dad
in the
met him?
past. It's not like she's gonna
No.
remember either.
This is driving home the point.
No,
So
I'm trying to
when did
remember.
your dad first say you need to throw that one back?
I think when I moved in with him, my dad's like,
And after how long was that?
How old were you?
This is a lot of stalling.
26?
It's not stalling. It's
She's squirming.
This
No,
is
I'm
in
trying
the past.
to remember. I have
This is in the past. She's
you're
not
tw-
gonna
I'm
remember
thinking
that either.
You're like
And the
17
girls are
years
making
old.
like
excuses.
26.
They're making excuses
I was
trying to
not
help her
six.
out.
Yeah.
Throwing her a lifeline.
No.
Well, it was 26 and
And it was like
Walking down the
shortly
sidewalk
after
one
that,
day.
my parents just like didn't like the fact
So it
that
was 24?
he wouldn't like drive to like come pick me
so
up.
when did
He
your
was-
dad say,
cute
survey
outcome.
says,
What?
When did he say no?
He had zero couth. He
She's still
fucked
dodging.
around with drugs.
She's bobbing and weaving.
No, he was just
So
a
it
piece
took
of
you a
shit.
while to.
I mean, I was also
to
like young. I
break
was
up with him.
partying.
Still ain't got the
And
answer.
no, I broke up with him 3 weeks after
Your dad
my
said no.
parents.
What was the
met his
first
entire
time your
family.
dad's like, no, that guy's. When was
Probably
the
when
first
you
time he
first
told
met
you
him.
you should
First,
ditch
the
him?
first
First
time my
time you
dad
met
met
him.
him, my dad's like,
And when
"He's
was
a
that?
fucking schmuck."
And when was that? How long after?
After I moved in with him,
And how long was that?
Probably 8
5
months.
months,
a
6
couple
months.
months after I moved in with him, but I was
So how many?
I was banging him for
Okay, so as
like
a year,
9 months.
so 12
first.
months in, your dad finally meets this guy,
Probably.
and that's when he was like, "Pfft."
My dad's like, yeah, nah.
And then you stay with him another year.
Well, he didn't want to meet your dad until then?
Because remember, they were friends with benefits, and then they ended up dating.
Yes, but you're still
I
friends.
kept him
for
in,
that
like, the
long.
friend zone.
So much cap. So much cap.
know,
I
I
should have
mean-
worn my boots today. The bullshit is.
Well, you got the
just really
cowboy
thick.
hat. Go get it.
It's rising up. Is that what you're trying to say?
Okay, so the bottom line is to once again confirm that the coach is right per usual. Erica was dating this gentleman years
He's
ago.
not a gentleman.
In her inexperienced
Who's a gentleman
youth,
called?
we would say. And after 12 months, her dad finally meets him and he says, nah, that guy is, what did he say? He's a schmuck?
Yeah, he's a schmuck.
He's a schmuck. And yet she stayed with him another 12 months and moved in with him.
Yeah. I was already moved in.
So the bottom line is to once again confirm what I said in the beginning of the video is that if you're worried about acceptance of the parents, if she's in love with you,
Well, he was also a
doesn't matter.
narcissist.
Doesn't matter. Jocelyne dated him the guy or guys anyways, even after dad said no.
My dad finally said yes to this one for sure.
Yeah, but Erica was told no, and she's like, "Whatever, Dad," and she continued to date him for a full 12 months
Well, no one's
after he
perfect.
said. So the bottom line is, as long as she's in love with you, it don't matter what the family says. Don't matter. Doesn't matter. So apply
I
what's in
think
the
I
book.
just had like a better
love
plan in the
him,
making.
Daddy.
Like I just wanted to really
God,
make
so
a statement with like
so
the
much
breakup.
bullshit. I'm gonna have to call an industrial cleaner to come in here
I'm
and
still
clean
friends with his
all the
dad.
bullshit that you dumped into our film studio today.
It's fine.
So much cap. Erica be capping.